Steve Knight here. It is just before 8 a.m. here, your Friday, May 16th, and here at CBS 21, we are tracking the potential for some strong, gusty, if not severe thunderstorms in your forecast here as we go through the morning hours. So this is what the current radar looks like, and you can see we've got just a couple of little pockets of some rain kind of dotting the atmosphere right now through portions of Franklin, up toward Mifflin and Juniata counties. So not that big of a deal, right? Well, let me widen out a little bit and show you what we're tracking and what is working its way toward us. Now, this strong line has already triggered some severe thunderstorm warnings off to our north and west. The good news is, at least for now, it has not triggered any tornado watches, and thankfully it has not triggered any tornado warnings. But this is a strong line of storms. Potential is there not only for some strong gusty winds, but also some isolated, very heavy downpours. And that is a big concern. Remember, it was just yesterday when we had kind of a rain bullseye that was in this area right in here. And for a time, we had some flash flood warnings that were up in Adams County. And we still have a lot of our area creeks and streams, especially the Conneauga through Cumberland County, that is running at about minor flood stage here, even as we speak. So we're talking about stormy conditions here on your Friday morning. I think any storm activity that we see here will wind down by about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So the afternoon and evening looks okay. Then we've got some isolated storms popping up here on your Saturday, and then cooler and pleasant on Sunday. It's also going to turn a little bit breezy. So let me show you the future radar. This is 10 a.m. this morning, as a lot of this is making its way through the area. Not only gusty winds, potential there for some real heavy downpours as well. We could have that damaging wind threat, and then of course also that flooding threat. This is noon, so lunchtime, still seeing some that are hanging on here as this moves through pretty quickly. Places like Adams and York counties. Eventually this all pushes off to the south and off to the east. So I think things settle down pretty nicely late afternoon and evening. In fact, evening plans tonight should be okay. And I think, even if you want to maybe take dinner out on the deck here this evening, it should be all right. Next thing we're watching is another front that's going to be coming through tomorrow. Our model is not picking up on much. However, I do think as this cold front comes through, we could have some isolated storms tomorrow afternoon, but most spots will stay dry. Sunday, really nice day. This is Sunday afternoon. It's breezy, cooler. We've got some sunshine with temperatures into the mid 70s. So, the rain threat here for us today. Our model keeps picking up on the idea that we could have some bullseyes, that in a short amount of time, we could have 1 to 2 inches of rain. If that were to play out, especially in places like Cumberland, central York, northern Adams counties, that would lead to some areas of some flash flooding, meaning rapid ponding on the roadways, potentially even worse. Your poor drainage areas could really take on water very, very quickly. And then not to mention the flooding threat on some of our smaller creeks and streams. So that's something we're going to be watching out for here later in the day. Now, in terms of the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, they've got us in the slight risk category for these storms to potentially be severe. You can see the bullseye for the really rough stuff is further off to our south and west. But one thing this doesn't take into account, this has more to do with damaging winds than anything else or the tornadic threat. What this doesn't take into account are those heavy downpours that I was talking about, because our ground very, very saturated now after all of the rain that we had here through the week. So that remains a big, big concern, is the idea that we can have some flooding and or flash flooding. Potential is there for some updraft winds that could lead to some hail. And while the threat is very low, there's also the idea that there could be some rotation within these storms here as they move through here during the mid-morning hours and into the very early part of the afternoon. So we'll look for these storms to shut down this afternoon. Not unlike yesterday, we popped some sun this afternoon. It gets pretty warm. We're heading into the mid-80s. I mentioned quiet for evening plans tonight, mid-60s. So then again, an isolated storm certainly possible to be popping up here. Mid-80s tomorrow, breezy cooler. And like I said, I don't see a lot of rain for us tomorrow, but a few spots could see the isolated storm. So overall, a drier pattern here tomorrow. Certainly Sunday is a dry day, as is Monday and Tuesday, and we need to dry out a little bit. And then we'll see some more scattered shower chances, I think, by the middle of next week. I think you notice, middle of next week, highs only in the mid-60s. It's going to be cloudy, cooler, and a little bit damp. So just to recap here, time frame here for these storms to be gusty, to be severe, give or take 9 a.m. Here this morning till about 1 o'clock this afternoon. But we'll continue to track it for you, keep you abreast of what's going on air, online, of course, here on all of our social media platforms as well. So stay with us as we continue to track this potential for some severe weather. In the meantime, Steve Knight signing off from the CBS 21 First Warning Weather Center. Have a great weekend, folks.